What up? Look at me recording during the day. Bet you never thought you'd see that, huh? Well, this isn't how I planned on doing this. I've been trying to get a review out for Inside Out since the Saturday, and it just hasn't been working. The first draft of my script it wasn't good. My second draft wasn't great either, and then last night I tried to do this big silly thing to make up for everything being so late, and well, it also didn't work out. I bit off more than I could chew, and I wasn't able to get the episode done. So I'm just doing this so that I could get something out, because Inside Out is a really, really good movie. And that's probably why I'm having so much trouble right now. I'm just not able to find a way to communicate what it is I want to say about this movie. And, driving like this, these videos do pretty good, and I feel like having half of my brain concentrated on something like driving allows me to, just focus more, or, I don't know. I'm talking about how this helps me focus, and I'm rambling already. So let's just get to it. Inside Out is a really, really good movie. I don't know if it's Pixar's best, but it's one of Pixar's best, and it is definitely one of my favorite movies of the year so far. And just like It Follows, I will be very, very surprised if come the December, if it isn't on my favorites of 2015's movies list, majiggers. But what is it? What is Inside Out? It's easily one of their weirdest ideas, and that's saying a lot considering it's Pixar, the guys that brought us Toy Story, WALL-E, Brave actually wasn't that bad. I was about to say Brave, but you know what? Cars. This is the same people that brought us Cars, and I'm saying that this idea, Inside Out, is one of their weirdest. But you know what? It works. What is it? What is this concept? So basically, the movie is about the emotions of a little girl named Riley, and the majority of the movie takes place inside her head, and it's these personifications of her emotions interacting with each other, playing off of each other, getting into fights, being friends, learning things, and growing. And as they grow, Riley herself grows because they're extensions of herself. They're metaphors of her. And that's a weird idea. Like I said before, going into this one, I didn't know. I didn't know what to expect because it was just such an out there concept. But again, it really works because what this concept allows Pixar to do is to explore something that you don't really see that often in movies. It's not really coming of age so much as it is about emotional maturity. And that's a pretty cool thing. They have fun with the fact that this actually isn't really a coming of age so much story, because there's a part at the end where they actually take a stab at the fact that Riley hasn't gone through puberty yet, and it's something that's on the horizon and is coming towards these characters, these emotions that are these personifications of Riley's emotions. They're like, oh, what's that? Puberty? Yeah. So what does it allow them to do? What does having this movie that stars the personifications of this girl's emotions allow them to do as they're making this commentary on emotional maturity? Well, it shows something, I don't want to call it controversial, but for a kid's movie, it's complicated. Because you see, as kids, we live in these bubbles that protect us. We're blissfully ignorant of the world outside and around us. We don't fully understand things, how the world works, what's out there, how other people are, what life can really do. I mean, life is a wonderful, awesome adventure, but as with any adventure, it has its downsides. There are its moments that aren't quite as happy as other ones. There are moments where life kind of sucks. It happens, and it's not fun that it happens, but it is a part of life. And, you know, as painful as it is to go through that experience as a child, as painful as it is to have that protective bubble around you burst and have you be thrown into the world of adulthood so unceremoniously sometimes, can be a very scary experience. It can be shattering. It can lead to all kinds of horrible things. Some people turn to drugs, some people turn to violence, some people, they just can't handle it. I mean, there's a reason why suicide rates are rather high in teenage years. But again, this isn't about puberty. But ultimately what this movie, what Inside Out, this cute, over-the-top cartoon about these adorable and lovable little characters inside this rather likable little girl's head comes down to, and what it ultimately is about is, you know, life taking its first real swings at you. At least that's what it was for me. I know that other people are kind of having their own interpretations of it too, but for me, as I was watching it, I was reminded a lot of my childhood. And don't get me wrong, I had a great childhood. I really did. Mom, I had a great childhood. Don't start apologizing for stuff from 20 years ago. But as a child, I moved a lot. I did. I would, and you know, again, it was fine. You know, people move when they're kids. Yeah, but I went to, like, I think it was like 4 or 5 different elementary schools until my family finally settled in Oregon, and then I was in the same middle school for the entirety of middle school and the same high school for the entirety of high school, much to the detriment of my mother, who actually had to do a really long commute in order to keep me in the same high school for my senior year. Thank you very much for that. I love you. But, you know, there are times when those moves were a little bit difficult. And I'm not saying that as a bad thing. It's just, you know, these big changes when you're a child sometimes can be a little jarring because you're not necessarily ready for them. And the main character, or not the main character is joy and sadness, but the girl, Riley, in this movie, she goes through a version of that in this movie, and as she and her parents move across country, and what it leads to is her experiencing really true sadness for the first time in her life. Or not the first time, but like a really huge pivotal moment in her life is really truly sad, something she hasn't experienced before. And that leads to a really big fight between joy and sadness inside her head, the two personifications of those emotions. And from there, that fight between joy and sadness spirals out of control as the two of them get basically kicked out of her head, and they have to go on this big epic adventure to get back to her head in order to, you know, get her emotions to where joy thinks they need to be again. And as that happens, as joy and sadness are no longer in her head and off on this crazy adventure, the emotions that are left to control her are anger, disgust, and fear. And so instead of being this happy-go-lucky little girl that Riley's always been, she suddenly becomes very reactionary, very aggressive in some ways, and she goes through an identity crisis. This is a kid's movie about a kid going through an identity crisis. That right in of itself is awesome because it gives people a perspective. It gives kids something to latch onto if they go through something jarring and life-shattering at a young age, and that is just so cool to me. I'm not saying that I needed a movie like this when I was going through all my moves as a kid, because again, you know, I got through them fine and it's really not that big of a deal. But there are other people that, you know, might not have handled them as well as I did. There are other people that they might have been even more jarring, like, you know, moving from one country to another, or instead of moving from California to Oregon, moving from Wisconsin to Oregon, or from Wisconsin to Texas, or something like that. Those could be pretty jarring shifts in your life. And this movie now exists to kind of give kids that are going through that, you know, a different way to look at their situation. And I think that is so cool. I really, truly love this movie. And it's Pixar. And they might as well rename the Best Animated Feature Oscar the Pixar Award, because they're always the front runner. I don't know off the top of my head how many times they've won it, but it always feels like they're about to win it or should win it. And honestly, I think they've got it in the bag this year. I don't really know. many other animated movies that are coming out in 2015. In fact, I really can't think of another one that I've seen in 2015 so far, if I have seen one. If I think of one, I'll redact that. But for the moment, I think this is the only animated movie I've seen this year, and I don't know of any others that are coming out that could even have a shot at unhinging this one. Oh, wait, okay. Studio Ghibli, or however you pronounce it, Miyazaki's studio, came out with one that looks really interesting. When Marnie was here, or If Marnie is here, or something like that. Excuse me, I'm getting a little burpy here. I haven't seen it, but it looks really good. So, maybe that'll be the contender here. Maybe that'll be the one that potentially... No, wait, okay, I'm not even going to talk about that because I haven't seen it yet. But that's the only other animated movie this year that I know of at this moment in time. And... you know what? If this is going to be a really cool year for the Oscars, I would say that this one should even be up for Best Picture. I know that doesn't happen very often. In fact, the only times that I can think of that it's happened off the top of my head are with Toy Story 3 and Beauty and the Beast way back in the 90s. So whether or not it'll happen with Inside Out, we'll have to wait and see. But this is a really good movie. I laughed. I cried. I was forced to think about things that I didn't really think I would ever see in a kid's movie. And I think this is going to be a really good one for the ages. I think 10, 15, 20 years from now, people are going to look back and be like, holy crap, Inside Out is awesome. Not that they're not saying it's awesome now, but I think this is one that's really going to stand the test of time, unlike something like Cars 2, and sadly Brave. I mean, I liked Brave more than a lot of people did, but I don't think, 20, 30 years from now, people are going to really remember Brave so much. I just don't think that that's... And that's unfortunate, because it was Pixar's first movie that starred a female character, and it was really just kind of Pixar doing the Disney formula, which was sad. Again, I don't hate the movie. I like it more than a lot of other people did, especially a lot of critics. I've read a lot of reviews that really weren't that warm about it, but I really liked it. Again, it's just not amazing like Inside Out is. And one of the things that's really cool about Inside Out is the fact that it stars female characters. Joy and sadness are female characters. And then you also have the fact that it's about a little girl, Riley. So you really have three incredibly prominent female characters in this movie. And it's really, in a lot of ways, what Brave should have been. And I think that's cool. It's like they learned their lesson about just doing the Disney formula with Brave, which again, I liked more than others, but there were lessons to be learned with that movie, and they took those lessons that they learned from that movie and they put them into this one, and they made a really, truly great movie. And after I finish this turn, I'm gonna applaud them for that. Because that's how life should be. That, life is about a balance of emotions. Life is about learning which parts of your memories are important, or not important, but which memories are things that you're really going to treasure down the road. Which interactions, which moments of your childhood, which moments of growing up are pivotal. Which moments of growing up are the ones that are really gonna define who you are and have a real impact on your life. And mistakes are part of that. You make mistakes, you learn from them, you try not to make the same mistake again. Pixar. And it's a great movie. I'm getting to the point where I'm rambling now, and I'm almost to Jamba Juice, where I'm gonna grab a quick snack, so I'm gonna sign off here. But yeah, guys, go see Inside Out. Don't go see Jurassic World again. God, I can't believe I'm even saying that, but considering it's already at 600 million worldwide, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. Don't go see Jurassic World again. Go see Inside Out. Or go see that movie Dope. That actually looks pretty funny. I'm going to try and see that in the next week or so here. And I don't know, hell, go see Ted 2. But just see anything other than Jurassic World again. Definitely check out Inside Out, though. And again, I'm rambling, so Lindsay out. Wow. Stupid thing.